Okay, that is so perfect. Hi, everybody. I brought props. Thank you for having me. That's just going to sit right there. Thank you for having me. And I need to move this because I can't trust myself that I won't get so excited that I'm going to knock it over. I just realized the last time I was on stage, I actually kind of blanked when the lights went on, and I froze because I didn't know exactly what I was going to say. And apparently I said, it's a good thing that I called my work Daring to Suck because I could take a shit on stage and be like, ta-da! And then I snapped to it, and everything was okay. So don't worry, I'm not going to take a shit on stage. And I didn't remember saying it, but I remember saying it now. Okay, so that's what that feels like. So anyway, as I work out the kinks here, being back on stage and not shitting on the stage, I'm really grateful to be here. And I brought some props. And we're going to tell a story. And I do feel a little bit like that Sesame Street. One of these things is doing its own thing. Because everyone told some very powerful stories. Mine does not feel super powerful. But I know that it is, in a way. Because I do believe, in relation to the soul and all that ethereal, amazing stuff, that our soul does invite people and situations into our lives to grow us and teach us. It also does that to show us when we have grown and when we have learned. And so this past Christmas, I received the ladder for me and this beautiful body that I get to call home. So picture this, it's Christmas Eve, and I'm in my bedroom, my husband and I are in my bedroom, getting ready to do our traditional Christmas PJ night. And my mother-in-law is here from Australia, which is very exciting. This is my mother-in-law, just, you know. And she is represented by this beautifully quilted patchwork bag because she made it. And it represents my mother-in-law because I challenge anyone to find a stitch out of place. She is meticulous, and she's a wonderful woman, and I love her dearly. And I was very excited that she was spending Christmas with us, because this tradition, normally we would all buy each other jammies, and this year I'm like, I'm gonna buy all matching jammies. My mother-in-law will love this. She loves order. And she loves anything to do with keeping up with the Joneses as well. She loves anything that resembles an American tradition. So I just pictured it, we're gonna have matching jammies. Some of them say like, what the elf? And another one says like, snow job. And I'm really excited. I've bought them all, I've got it all handled, and I'm like pulling them up from under the bed. I'm like, we're gonna do jammies. And my husband walks in, goes into our closet and walks out with super excited. He's like, let's go. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I got your jammies. I'm like, I got the jammies. He's like, well, and of course it's like, what? I'm like, I got all the jammies. I'm like, they're all this, and like, I have a plan. And all of a sudden I realize I am my mother-in-law for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, we have a plan. That's not the plan. You're not supposed to go. Instead of being like, oh, you bought me jammies. That's really nice and romantic. And before you go thinking it was like some Richard Gere Pretty Woman moment where the dress is laid out, I actually almost thought he was taking the recycling out because he wrapped my jammies in newsprint, which I love him. And he was so friggin' excited about these jammies, I could not even fathom to be like, oh my God, I thought you were taking the recycling out. So he's like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, he's not really that excitable normally. So I'm like, there's something going on with these jammies. And so I'm like, all right, okay. And I'm trying to be cool, like not disappointed that like, oh, my little plan with the marching jammies is not gonna work. But anyway, we go out and everybody's like, jammies. We sound like real weirdos actually when I'm saying that right now. We do have a life. But anyway, we start unwrapping the jammies and they're like, woo, what the elf, snow job, pizza, jammies, whatever. And everyone's like super excited. And my husband's like, open your jammies. And I'm like, what is up with these newspaper wrapped jammies? And I'm like, all right. So I start to open the jammies and now I understand. My husband has been paying attention. That every time I see a onesie, I'm like, oh, I want a onesie. I want a unicorn onesie. I want a unicorn onesie. He's been paying attention. He buys me a fluffy pair of unicorn jammies. And I'm like, oh, I get it. And he's just like, you can tell, he's just like, I'm this right here. This guy right here nailed it. Because my husband has a notorious past of like thinking he's nailed it and then putting his size 10s like right in his mouth. And so I'm watching him and he's just like, right, these are, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing. My mother-in-law's like, this is so great. Everyone's having a great time. And then I look at them and I'm like, I get this wash of like, oh, they're looking at the size. Cause he made that journey solo. He didn't know what size I was. And so God love my husband. That's brave and romantic in itself. Because actually, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this like 5 years before. He knew what size I was because I was like 60 pounds lighter, and every time I went into my closet, I would literally yell out, I'm a size 10! And then, I'm a size 8! So he always knew what size I was. And women don't go the other way. I'm a size 12! I'm a 16! So he's flying blind. So he's blind in this decision, and I'm aware of that, and I'm like, okay. And I'm trying to match his enthusiasm because the jammies are there in my face. And I'm like, oh, and I look at it's like staring right at me, the label. And I'm like, it says XL. And I'm like, was that a Walmart XL? Or like a Le Chateau XL? Which I didn't say. I'm like, here we are. It's happening. It's happening. Oh my God, Bridesmaids. Sorry, flashback. It's happening. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That's exactly where I was with this experience. So I'm like, oh my God. Daring to Suck meets radical acceptance right here in my life. And so I'm like, all right, so okay, all right, we're doing this. Me and my soul, I'm like, we're doing this. This is happening right now. And they're like, try it on. My kids are... And I'm like, okay. Oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, I'll try these jammies and we're doing this. And I know as soon as I just like let them unfurl. And I'm like, oh, my husband, he was so invested in this pair of jammies, which sounds really weird, I know to say. We're in a good place. Jammies are not going to make or break us. However, it was a good moment for him and I didn't want to ruin it. So his heart is like out there. And my mother-in-law's like, this is great. And I'm like, you just wait, because I'm about to be your worst nightmare, ma'am. And she doesn't even know it's coming, but I do. And I'm like, okay. And I don't know, there was just something different in my body this time. I think in the past, I would have been like, oh no, let's try them on later, private, you know. But everyone was on. I was like, no, this is happening. This is over. That's over. And so I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I go to put on the first foot, and right away, I mean, as soon as they hit the calf, I know we're in trouble. I'm like, so that's touching, snug. But I'm committed, so. Pull them up to here, and I'm like, oh, gusset, stops. Right here. Gusset, also one of my favorite words. And I'm like, no, we're in this to win this. So I'm like, I reach down and try to get it over my shoulder, and it's taut. And all of a sudden, I can see their body language shift from like to, what do I do with my hands? Nobody wants. And I'm like, I jonked the last one in, and I just tried to straighten my legs. And I just took a few breaths, and all of a sudden, I realized I became the sun because no one wanted to look directly at me, because they'd burst into flames. So all of a sudden my mother-in-law just like doesn't know where to put her hands, doesn't want to look at me, and I'm just like, oh, I am her worst nightmare in this moment. She would die if this ever happened to her, because it's right here, and there is an opening that will not close. So I took the opportunity to just face it. Here it is. here we are, and everything's gonna be okay. And so, of course, I just needed to put them out of their misery. My husband was not looking away because he was disgusted by me. He was devastated that his, once again, size 10s were firmly in the back of his throat. And he's like, oh, what have I done? Have I damaged her for life? Because he's sitting beside his mother, who he knows likes all the order and everything to look really nice. And I'm a big old question mark to her, so, or an opportunity, which is how I like to see it. And so I just start doing like, that guy in a little coat, my little like dance. I don't know if any of y'all know what I'm talking about, but Chris Farley did this funny little skit. And everyone starts laughing, and all of a sudden my mother-in-law thinks she might actually survive it, so she starts to like make her go, oh, okay, we're all laughing, we're good, is this good, is this okay, have I survived? Because I think she had actually left her body for a few moments, and I was trying to like just let everybody know everything's cool. And one of my kids said, hey, well, I said, oh, they're a little snug, and we were all laughing at this point because you just had to, because it's hilarious. And I was like, yeah, a little snug. And one of my kids said, well, Grandma can fix it because Grandma knows how to make stuff. So I'm like, yeah, she can if you're up for it. And she's like, oh, all of a sudden, Grandma is like in her zone of genius. And she's like, well, she comes on up and we're talking about all new racing stripes. I'm like, oh man, the flashier the better. I'm talking sequence. Let's max this baby out. Let's like jack this unicorn up to be extra unicorny. And so she's getting excited. Oh, you know, I could do this. Oh, my patchwork group. And she's lit up like a Christmas tree. And Scott's relieved because his life isn't over. Not that it would be. And all of a sudden, it just became this really awesome family moment where we were all creating and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, like a rainbow gusset. That drew her. She was like, I was like, why not? And she's like, that'd be weird. Unicorn jammas we're talking about. And I'm like, okay, fine, what color do you want? She's like pink? I don't think I want my unicorn vagina to look like a unicorn vagina. So I'm like, anything but pink or rainbow. Or no, I like rainbow, make it rainbow. Anyway, so we all survived that. We went to bed, and there was just really something liberating in that moment for me, because the years leading up to that moment had been pretty tricky for me and my body. A lot of trauma, a lot of adrenaline issues, a lot of things that I was navigating with this sucker. She'd been asked to move through quite a bit. And it was the first time that, faced with this, with these moments, with our mess, I was just no longer willing to throw me, my heart, my body, under the bus anymore. And it wasn't even an issue. It wasn't even on the table, and that felt like a really liberating moment for me. And I loved that it also created something bigger and bolder for everyone in the room. And I guess what I want to offer you is that when we do face our worst nightmares, when we are literally embodying them, that some beauty can come from that. And I often say to bless the mess and trust the process. And when we do that, we can find our wholeness in the whole mess. And beauty can be made through, even if it's through a pair of pajamas. So I thought I would bring the pair of pajamas that she made and show you what she did. Ta-da! Just give me a second. 1 second. Notice the gusset. It was blue. She chose blue, which is better than pink, because pink would be weird. They fit. I feel like I need reverse stripper music. Does anybody know that tune? Roomy. And an opening that closes. Thank you.
No, this hat.
Oh, no, this one. Oh, yeah. Do I get to go now?
I have to talk to your mother-in-law. I want one.